Welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm Lee, and I'm so glad you could stop by today and join me on today's little adventure. And to get right to that, got something in the mail here. Sure you can't see it, but it says B-Link on the top. And on the back, the Mate Mini B. Alright. Get the plastic off this. Alright. Got a little opening thing that didn't open very well. Pull it from the other end. Okay. Oh, there's one on the other side too. Okay. Now we should hopefully be able to get the top off this. That's tight. Let me get this. I'm going to seal there too now. Just about there, yay, hooray. Okay, and we have here the Mate Mini User's Manual. Here is the Mate Mini itself. Obviously, this is a hub, and we have on the back here 2 USB ports, Ethernet. The 2 USB-C ports, I believe, are both intended to connect to one to connect to the computer itself, the Mac Mini, and then the other is to provide additional power. Okay. And they provide here 2 connectors, which, I don't know, one, obviously you have to plug it into the Mini. Okay, that's going to be, absolutely true. And I suppose the other one, the intention is they would both plug in back here and take up 2 of the Thunderbolt ports? I don't think so. I don't see that as being a good thing. But I'm sure we can connect a charge cable to that to another source, and that will take care of that problem. All right. Now the question will come in, how do you get into this? I will probably need to take a read of this. So please stay tuned. All right, I'm back. Now, 2 things, having looked at the charger. I had not examined these very closely. I see that they are different sizes. Both are intended to connect the Mini Mate to the Mac Mini. This one, the larger one, is designed to have the Mini Mate on top of the Mac Mini, which is actually more desirable since the wireless antenna in the Mini is at the bottom of the machine. Putting this on the bottom could cause a problem. Also, I note, the screws are, of course, under these silicone pads. It says to remove the silicone pads. I'm not going to remove them completely because we want them to be on there. Oh, come on, you. Okay, there's one. Go. And I'm going to need to get a better screwdriver, I think. This one just happened to be there. That one's turning. Would be much better done with a magnetized screwdriver. All right, let's see if we can't. Yeah, it's coming. Okay, screws are out, and the entire bottom of it comes off. All right. And we're going to need to remove the fan. Hey, this is getting way too involved. Standoffs don't turn. Oh. Okay. You really don't need to watch me do this. I shall be back when I have this thing taken apart. All right, we're back again. I did get the screws out and the heatsink is off. Now, the SSD slides right in here. There we go. There is a screw, which I managed to save. I did have a problem. There are 4 screws holding the heatsink on. 2 of them were greatly recessed and they disappeared. So we'll have to try to put it back in with 1 screw. Alright, so I then need to screw the SSD down. That screw I do have. There is a thermal pad attached to the heatsink here with a strip of foil that we can use to take off. Alright, so let me get this reassembled and then we'll proceed from there. Stay tuned. Well, here we are again, and I have to apologize for the rather chaotic nature of those first three clips. I have used several Mac Mini hubs of this nature in the past. Generally, they were a lot easier to set up than this one was. It makes sense because given Thunderbolt 5 running the drive, it's going to run a lot hotter. It's going to need a heatsink and a fan and all of that. But anyway, it was kind of a mess, but thank you for staying with me. All right. So, here's the drive in question. It's a Western Digital Black 8 terabyte, which can be pricey, but I got it on a very, very good sale, and it seems to be working well. What people will want to know about, of course, is the speed, so let's open up Blackmagic. Now, just to get a baseline, let's run a test on the internal 512 gigabyte storage. Now, read speeds are really high, aren't they? Which is good. And right, I mean, these are very, very commendable kinds of speeds. All right, now that we've got that baseline, let's select the Western Digital 8 terabyte and run that test. Wow. Over 6,000 write, close to 6,000 read. I mean, it's not quite twice as fast, but darn, look at that. Now, I assume that as you keep running, keep copying, this is going to go down a little bit, but that tells you something right there. 8 terabytes of storage, 8 terabytes at speeds that are just a lot faster than the internal storage. I think that tells us all we need to know. Yeah, I'm glad that I did this. Now, I had a 4 terabyte drive in a Treebleed 5 terabyte enclosure with comparable speeds, and I still have that, but since I can now move that around as I need to, and plug it into other machines, whereas since this is intended to stay put, it's going to be. All right. Well, and a lot of this has to do, and I haven't really commented on it, but we're in the last stages of the life of my beloved 5.1 Mac Pros. And those are still my main machines, but the clock is ticking. Once the next version of Mac OS is released, Tahoe, and it works through its 3-year cycle, we will be seeing those Mac Pros heading the way of the Power Mac G5s, another machine that I love very, very much. And it's sad, but we've got to move on. So here we are. This machine, the M4 Pro Mac Mini, is going to be a very, very worthy successor to those machines. And I'm not giving up those Mac Pros until they're pried out of my hands. But there you go. In any event, thank you so much for stopping by today. Be good to other people. They need it and deserve it. Be good to yourselves. We can make this world a better place, but it's got to start with being good to ourselves. The world is not a better place, sadly, so please continue to take very, very good and careful care in these difficult times. All right, I have a couple of more videos coming up on this machine as I continue setting it up to be the main machine. I have another video that's going to be coming up on the M4 base model Mac Mini, getting that working. I've got the 4,1 flash to a 5,1, which is running Mojave and really needs some work. That should, I hope, be interesting. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of other things coming up on the channel. So until that time, this has been Broken Electronics.